Here's how anyone can actually become a millionaire. Well, actually becoming a millionaire isn't the hard part. Doing it in a small amount of time is where it actually becomes incredibly difficult. Now, before we jump in, make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up with all the content. Now, let's break it down a bit. Now, as most of you probably already know, the best and easiest way to become a millionaire is to invest it onto the stock market. However, becoming a millionaire in the short term requires a much more ambitious strategy than just collecting a paycheck and investing it. To be completely honest, the only two realistic ways anyone can become a millionaire this fast is one, becoming the CEO of your own company, or two, being a really good investor. And also there's technically three, but that includes doing illegal things, which I won't get into. Now let's take a look at the first option. Now there are many successful CEO stories out there, but the probability of anyone becoming a successful CEO and quickly gaining $1 million is incredibly slim. Not to mention all the work and effort that you need to put in to start your company, keep it running, manage all the different resources that you have, and grow your company to be worth $1 million. Now, I'm not saying you can't do it, but for the vast majority of people, this strategy is just very unlikely and difficult. Moreover, only around 4% of startups actually reach $1 million in revenue, and the average time to get there is over 2.5 years. Your company is more likely to become bankrupt than ever becoming successful. However, if you just look at the statistics, the strategy actually seems really good, achieving $1 million in just over 2.5 years. However, the skills required and the difficulty that comes along with creating your own company and building it up like this is incredibly difficult. And also assuming you find an ideal business strategy that is unique from all your other competitors out there. So now that we've discussed that option, let's look at the other one, being a really good investor. Now, let's say you find the most ideal real estate or stocks, which at this point is probably too late for real estate. However, let's say for example NVIDIA. If you noticed this company back in 2015 and invested just $1,000 at that time, you would almost have $500,000 today. And that was just with $1,000 20 years ago. That is a very difficult task to accomplish, assuming you can pick out the exact right stocks that you need to become a millionaire incredibly fast. However, we take a step back and let's say you want to become a millionaire in 5 years. Many online calculators will give you around $13,000 to $15,000 a month, assuming you invested wisely enough to earn an average of 10% a year, which isn't that difficult with the S&P 500. If you were to meet the minimum $13,000 a month savings goal, your annual income has to be around $265,000. Now that number is also bound to change due to your income tax situation, but the point is that it's still incredibly high. Now, after all the federal taxes, and assuming you live in a state with no income tax, you'll be left with $185,000 a year, or around $15,400 a month. And saving $13,000 of that will leave you about $2,400 a month to meet all of your expenses, which isn't terrible. However, you still have to get that $265,000 a year annual income, which is incredibly unlikely for many people, considering the median salary in the United States is about $70,000 at the current moment. You would already have to have an incredibly well-paying job in order to be able to pull this off, which is very unlikely for many other people out there. However, in the two previous examples, we're taking a major component out of the equation, which is time and compound interest. The path to becoming a millionaire really starts with your understanding of your investment timeline and the power of compounding returns. Over a 30-year period, steadily investing combined with compound growth can transform your modest contributions into a hefty nest egg. But let's dive into how much you actually need to invest regularly to reach that millionaire status. Well, assuming a 10% growth within the S&P 500 and no inflation as well as no taxes being paid, you'd have to invest about $500 per month in order to become a millionaire in 30 years. Now keep in mind, this $500 per month is the amount that you need to sock away consistently to hit the $1 million mark in 3 decades. However, it's not just about this amount that's important, but it's also about consistency and discipline. Keep in mind that every dollar counts on your journey to becoming a millionaire, and the earlier the better. But what if you don't have 30 years to spare? If you're working with a shorter timeline, let's say 15 years, the monthly contribution skyrockets to $2,622. It's a hefty sum, but remember, time is money in the world of investing. With this in mind, the Motley Fool also gives you a very good idea of how much you need to invest based on an average of 8% annual returns, which is a reasonable return on investment if you have a more balanced portfolio of stocks and bonds. However, if you're younger, I would recommend you typically stay more aggressive and invest more into stocks than you would bonds, because the S&P 500 has a higher annual return rate than bonds typically do. However, this chart gives you a very good idea of how much you need to invest per year in order to become a millionaire. Moreover, there are many online calculators out there that you could easily use to determine how much you would have to invest every year or if you're on the right track. My favorite calculator is Bankrate or Forbes, and each of these allow you to enter how much you've currently invested, how much you're saving per month right now, the expected rate of return, and the expected inflation rate, which is also incredibly useful. Speaking of inflation, there's another major caveat. Having $1 million in the next 30 years isn't going to be the same as having it now. Inflation, which has been on a rise for months now, eats into the value of the money. In fact, $1 million 30 years ago is around having $2.1 million today, thanks to the nearly 110% of inflation during that time. That means if you want to be as wealthy as $1 million today, you're going to have to make more than 2 times that amount in the next 30 years. However, that's not the point of this video, and just getting to that 7-figure benchmark is still an incredible achievement for anyone. So now that you know how much you have to invest per month in order to become a millionaire, and let's discuss some tips and tricks on how you can get to that investment. Now, as we mentioned earlier, time is money in the investing world. So the first golden rule is start saving as early as you can. The power of compounding is your best friend in the journey to the millionaire status. Like we mentioned earlier, when we compare the 30-year time frame to the 15-year time frame, you'd have to invest 5 times more money monthly in order to match with the 30-year time frame when compared to the 15-year time frame. The power of compounding grows more and more the longer you've had your money in your investment, so you want to get started as early as you can. Now, in order to invest money into investments, you need to have money in the first place. We have to talk about slashing unnecessary spending and debt. Every dollar that you spend on non-essentials is a dollar that you could have invested. So before you make that impulsive purchase, you really have to ask yourself, do you actually need this, and do you want to become a millionaire? $25 of weekly savings can snowball into nearly $280,000 over the next 40 years. Now, there are plenty of ways to do this, such as buying less expensive clothes, making sure you turn off the light every time you exit the room, or maybe eating out only a couple times per month. The more you save, the more you're able to invest, and the faster you'll reach the millionaire status. Now, you might be asking yourself, how much of your money should you actually save? Well, many experts recommend saving 15% of your income as the golden rule. Now, prioritizing savings is crucial on the road to a millionaire status, especially if it's early on. And although 15% is the golden rule, I would recommend investing and saving as much as you humanly can. Now, that doesn't mean you can't treat yourself every once in a while and still having a reasonable monthly budget to live within. But all that I'm saying is the more you save, the faster you're able to become a millionaire. So I don't believe there's one exact number that should be the golden rule. Rather, everyone should have a different golden rule of how much they can save. And next, when it comes to building wealth, it really only boils down to 2 parts: how much you can earn and how much you can save. So now let's dive into your income. If your income really isn't cutting it for you, then it's probably time to explore your options. Whether it's asking for a raise, picking up extra shifts, or investing in further education to boost your earning potential, there are avenues there to increase your income. In fact, the average salary increase for those who switch jobs is 14.8%, and those who stay in a job for more than 2 years tend to make less. Now, obviously, if you really like your job and you're passionate about it, I would recommend not switching. You want to make sure that every job that you do have is a good fit for you overall as well. You need to remember that a job description, organization, and company culture are all important as well when considering any job might be given to you. However, you also should remember that every extra dollar counts in the pursuit of your millionaire status. So if you think that you're really being underpaid for the job that you're doing, then maybe consider switching jobs. And next, we have to talk about lifestyle inflation, the silent millionaire killer. As your income grows, so do your expenses. But here's the catch. Instead of splurging on fancy cars and lavish vacations, try channeling that extra cash into your investments. Resisting the temptation to inflate your lifestyle might just allow your wealth to grow exponentially faster. Like I mentioned earlier, you should be trying to save as much as possible. So even when you do get that boost in your income, whether by switching jobs or asking for a raise, you shouldn't be spending that on all the unnecessary things. To be completely honest with you, becoming a millionaire isn't just about getting to that millionaire status. It's also about your mindset and how you approach finances. However, if you're not sure where to get started, seeking professional guidance can always be a game changer on a financial journey. Whether it's crafting a personalized retirement plan or navigating complex investment options, a qualified financial advisor can provide invaluable support. You can easily find financial advice on Google or YouTube like this video here to help you along your way. Moreover, when it comes to investing, we have to talk about strategy as well. Retirement savings accounts are your ticket to financial freedom. They allow a lot of the money that you put in to be tax advantaged, and all of them have their different benefits. Whether it's 401k, traditional Roth IRA, or SEP IRA, These accounts offer different tax advantages and investment opportunities to supercharge your savings. Plus, with contribution limits increasing every single year, there's never been a better time to maximize your retirement savings. The one retirement account I'd like to point out is your Roth IRA. The way that a Roth IRA works is that you put in after-tax money, and the money that grows within this account is completely tax-free, and the money they later withdraw from this account is also completely tax-free, making it an incredible investment vehicle. Now, if you found this video helpful in your financial journey, then make sure you hit that subscribe button to help out. And there you have it. The path to millionaire status is paved with strategic savings, smart investments, and a dash of discipline. If you start implementing these tips today, then you can watch your millionaire status become a reality. And until next time, happy investing.